tell us about the mental aspect of the game, and what's your favorite part of it to teach? Like, what's the biggest, in your opinion, where's the biggest mental barrier for most players?
Yeah. I believe that it is a willingness to accept failure. I think that's where the key is. So for me, I was scared to fail a lot of times. When I got to UC Riverside, I was like, what if I'm not as good as the people around me and this and that? And ultimately, I was scared of what other people thought of me. I was scared of failure and its consequences. What I started trying to learn, and I'm still trying to learn it. It's something that I think I'll continue trying to learn. But when you play baseball, you don't have to play for the expectations of other people. You can just enjoy it because you have an able body and you're able to do it, and that's a blessing. So if that's the main overarching principle, and then there's so many things that fall under that, but I think that's the main thing that people struggle with. And so they'll go into a game, and some people react in different ways. Some people will try too hard, some people will try to dial it back too much. Baseball is such a mentally taxing sport, given that you fail so much. And so you have to see failure not as something to avoid at all costs, but something to embrace. And when it happens, it can't trigger you emotionally. You need to become emotionally impervious to failure. And once you start ingraining that in who you are, then it becomes the mental side. You're then freed up to play like you're capable, because so many people are capable of playing so much better than they actually do. And that's where I feel like for me, physically, I wasn't anything exceptional out of college, but I just managed to put together some consistent seasons my junior, senior year. And I felt like, in relation to my physical capabilities, I felt like I was playing as good as I possibly could have played because of my mental game. And so, yeah, when I got into content, it was like, that was one of the main things that inspired me to start posting, because I was like, man, I feel like I wish people would have told me this before I got into college.
That's crazy. I've thought about this before, but baseball is really the only sport where the mental side of it is as important or more important than the actual physical side. Like you just said, physically you were good, but you weren't like, there's guys out here who are absolutely gifted, like Aaron Judge, like you're not matching that physically, but if you can match that mentally, you can be just as good, if not better, which I think is the cool part about baseball, is that if you're mentally stronger than someone, football, you're just bigger and stronger, but
I don't think so.
Football, you can be bigger and stronger.
You can. But the mental aspect is still huge.
Oh, it's still massive.
This is the thing to me that's so unique about baseball is you fail so much. The best teams that have ever played, they're still losing tons of games every year. You're still striking out all the time. I wish I'd had you as my coach when I was going up, because that way I would have been able to handle it a little better. But, you get on the mound, you're pitching, and, you flunk out. You just, you walk 5 batters and then they pull you, Yeah. Or you go up, you're in a slump and you can't get out of the hitting slump. But breaking out of that mental side, learning to accept failure, keep persevering, learning to push through that and play well in spite of it all. And that's huge. And I think baseball is so unique to that, and probably prepares you for success outside of baseball once you're able to master that part of it. That's what I thought of mainly when you were talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many applications that, lessons I've learned in baseball that have been carried over into life for sure. And that's also been one of the cool things too, and part of my vision too is getting to mentor the next generation. And it goes so much more, goes beyond baseball.